BWOne here from BWOne, and in this video we're going to do versus between the Samsung Galaxy S4 and the LG G2. Both phones are flagship phones from the respective companies and they're battling out to see which one reigns supreme. So let's get this versus started between the Samsung Galaxy S4 and the LG G2. All right, to start off this versus between the Samsung Galaxy S4 and the LG G2, let's start off with hardware and design. Now, both do pack some pretty cool hardware and design with them. Let's start off here with the Galaxy S4, as it's been pretty much the premier Android device for at least the last few months now. You can see it has a nice design, 5-inch full HD Super AMOLED display. It does have like a nice little chrome trimming around it, physical home button, and then you have capacitive buttons here for let's see if we can line them up here just quickly for menu and back. You have your power button here on the side, volume rocker here on the side. On the back, a 13 megapixel camera with LED flash. And here at the top, you have a 2 megapixel front facing camera. Actually right here, 2 megapixel front facing camera. At the top, you have your 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. Then here at the bottom, you have your micro USB port for charging and syncing. And then you have a removable battery cover that has a 2600 milliamp hour battery. You have your SIM card and you have a micro SD card slot to add additional storage up to 64 gigabytes. Then you have your speaker here at the bottom. So quick sort of hardware sort of look around to it, and it's nice design language. It's an improvement over this predecessor to the Galaxy S3, and it does feel pretty good in the hand. Has a nice solid feel. This chrome trim really does give it sort of that premium look and feel. Comes in some multiple colors. Main two colors you usually see are the white and the black version. So it's the Black Frost version, but there is a purple one as well too, and a brown one available as well. The purple I believe is on Sprint, and the brown is available on Verizon. All right, so that's pretty much sort of design sort of look here with it. Now for the LG G2, this has a nice 5.2 inch display. It's a full HD IPS display, 1920 by 1080, same resolution as the Galaxy S4, 2 megapixel front facing camera. You don't have any buttons really here on the side. You have a slim chrome trimming sort of inside of it, as you can see here. All the buttons are uniquely here on the back, which is a little bit different. You have your volume buttons here on the back, and you also have your power button here and a 13 megapixel camera with optical image stabilization. Need to find a fancy marketing term for that. It's a lot to say. And LED flash as well too. There's no removable parts to this, so the battery is built in and will stay in, and it's at 3000 milliamp hours, which is 400 more than the Samsung Galaxy S4. And it does come with 32 gigabytes of storage built into it, into the model that we have, but it has a 16 gigabyte option. This has the Galaxy S4, going back to storage, this does have a 16 and 32 gigabyte storage options. The one we have here is 16. Now for internals, as far as what they have inside of them, the Samsung Galaxy S4 has a quad-core Snapdragon 600 processor with 2 gigabytes of RAM, while the the LG G2 has a Snapdragon 800 processor, which is a little newer, also quad-core, and that one's that also comes with 2 gigabytes of RAM on here as well. So internally, they're packing some pretty big power. Both of them pretty much equals. Both have Snapdragon processors, the 800, which is a little bit faster inside of here, and I just turned on one of the features, which is the knock feature there. We can take a look at their lock screen so you get an quick idea sort of how the display sort of look like there, but we're getting a little more deeper into that detail. Putting them side by side, you can see the G2 is a little bit longer, a little bit wider than the Samsung Galaxy S4. That's because obviously the extra couple of inches of display and such, but the bezels are very, very thin on both of these here. The G2 does a very good job of making it 5.2 inches and making the bezel very, very thin, as you can see here on each one of the sides. Same thing here on the Galaxy S4, 5 inches, but very, very thin bezels on the side here. Both are pretty light. There really isn't too much of a weight difference between the two of them. They both feel pretty light in the hand and such here. And I also should mention, as we're doing this versus, we're comparing it to the international version. So this is the international LG G2, a global version as they like to reference it to it. This is the Verizon Galaxy S4. So that's where we're just sort of comparing the US versus a global version here. Now, that's pretty much sort of design between the two of them here. Pretty nice design. Both I do like in terms of hardware aspects. I do like the sort of the button layout a little bit better on the Galaxy S4, because I kind of like that, just having them physically here on the side, and I like having a physical home button, and I also like having the headphone jack at the top. The G2 does, I think, has a little bit more of a sleeker look to it, despite just a little bit more. But the button on the back here is still a little bit weird for me when I'm using them there on the back. And I don't really like having the headphone jack here at the bottom and the speakers here at the bottom. I'd rather have the speakers sort of in the back somewhere, or kind of split between the two, get a little bit better audio with it. But other than that, that's pretty much hardware comparison. Hardware and design comparison between the two. It's really a preference of sort of what you like. Do you like sort of the chrome trimming and slick feel of the S4, or do you sort of like a little more sexy, a little more unique and a little different look that the LG G2 has? Okay, in this part here, we're gonna do sort of software comparison. We're gonna take a look at the displays. As you can see here, I have displays both at the brightest settings possible on us, so you can get an idea of sort of what they look like. Software and features we're gonna look at, and overall sort of usability here between the LG G2 and the Samsung Galaxy S4. Now, first, as far as speed, just kind of navigating through the operating system, you're going to notice that the G2 is a bit faster and a bit smoother. And that's really coming from the fact that it does have a faster processor on it with a Snapdragon 800 versus the 600 here, which is still pretty speedy and pretty decent here with it. It doesn't really lag too badly, but you really just notice sort of this speed difference here on the G2. So I definitely have to give it sort of the edge on that note here. TouchWiz can run a little bit heavy. I think they need to do a little bit of refinement with it to make it run just a little bit smoother, but it still does run pretty decently here with it. But right now the G2, as you can see here, sort of beats it out. Now you can kind of look at the displays, get an idea sort of what both of them look like. You can tell that the Galaxy S4 has a nice display, but sort of the colors sort of just kind of pop out, sort of give you this, maybe not the most natural realistic colors with it, but it does give you sort of, let's take a look at a picture here. This one here, I didn't take this with the Galaxy S4, but I took it actually with the actually took this with the Lumia 1020, but you get an idea sort of the color reproduction and such with it. Pretty nice display overall. Take a look here on the G2. We'll take a look at some of the pictures here we have on here. I don't believe I have this one on here yet, but we can get something at least close to it. You can see it's a little more realistic, because this sort of pops everything out. Oop, I powered it off there. Let's go ahead and bring this back up. Let's go ahead and bring this back up here. Sorry about that. Got to do the pattern. There we go. And you can see here a little more realistic on the color representation. As you can see here, and the Galaxy S4 sort of pops things out with the AMOLED display. Makes a little bit more not realistic in terms of color tone. So it depends on what you're really looking for in terms of that. Going back in here, let's go ahead and head back home here. Both offer some very, very cool software features on here. As we know, Samsung has all the air gestures on theirs, and sort of things like Smart Stay. Let me see what else we have. Smart Stay, screen mirroring, S-Beam, Air View. That's one of the things we're talking about here. Air View basically allows you to sort of kind of hover over the phone and get your little sorts of bits of information and bits gestures done, like web magnification, speed dial preview, information preview. You can preview over text messages and things of that nature, and it sort of gives you haptic feedback sort of when you hover over it here. Let's see if we can maybe we can pull out a little bit quick example of it. But it does have smart scroll, smart pause, smart scroll. Basically it kind of tracks your head, trying to figure out kind of where you're seeing, kind of viewing where you're seeing, and trying to see where your head's going and such, to see if it's going up and down, to kind of match the web page with it there. You have smart pause, which kind of, if you look away, the video will pause, of course. And the air view gestures are what I mentioned before. But let's go a little deeper here into the menu. Compare some of the things in here. Well, I should do that here on the LG G2 as well. And also, you notice the notification sections, LG has so much more inside of theirs. They have the Q Slide apps, which is their multitasking, which I'll get into the multitasking comparison in just a second. But you have all these options available pretty much between the two of them here. They put all the quick access right there at the top. You have much more going on here. You have your volume options there. You have your sort of display brightness and display brightness here, but you have the volume, which is a little extra there, and then you have your settings and such here too, and you have your multitask there, and you should still be able to go down. I think they got rid of this feature here. You can't go down to get this little extra option there, because they already put it all up here for you, so it's quite all right. Let's go actually what I wanted to go originally to, which was the settings. Not those settings, but rather these settings, so you can kind of get a comparison. Go back here. All right, start pretty much the networks and connections is very similar and the same. Laid out mostly the same way. They have sharing connect and connects pretty much where you find NFC, S-Beam, direct Android Beam, Smart Share Beam, which is their version of S-Beam on LG, Miracast, you know, screen mirroring, wireless storage, keys via Wi-Fi, which is sort of Samsung's way of doing wireless storage with it. Let's see, we go to my device here. We'll go ahead and go back one. We'll go to sound. So they don't have a my device, we have a sound profile here. It gives you sound profiles, volumes, vibration strength, quiet mode, and you have incoming calls, system touch system. You have your touch feedback system and such. Go into display. See, they don't really have that on here. The sounds are kind of pushed within a different option menu within here, which is under sounds just itself, which gives you pretty much similar sound and customization options between on your Galaxy S4 here. Go ahead and head back. You have LED indicators, your display, you have home and lock screen customization as well. It's available on both of them. Brightness, front touch buttons, which is something you can customize on here, but you can't customize on here because they don't actually have virtual touch buttons on here. It's all physical. You can see which are those down here. You have your smart screen, smart video, same things on here. I'm gonna go ahead and head back here. Smart screen, smart video, all sort of laid out. They lay them all a little bit differently, but you kind of get the idea that they do really pack very similar features. Go in the general tab. They both have sort of you have an accounts tab and a general tab here. But you can see your about phone, storage, security, guest mode, which is a pretty cool feature here. We can actually do guest mode here on the Galaxy. You can't do guest mode on the Galaxy S4, but on the G2 you can actually do guest mode. It basically allows you to pass your phone along to a friend or your kid, and if they want to get in it to use something, they don't use like the entire phone, or they basically won't get into your sensitive data if you don't want them to be in there. In a certain pattern you have to do, which you can set, which we have set here. Let's go ahead and turn this back on, and we'll go ahead and bring out that out. Oh, actually, I think it's this way. There we go. And you can see, brings out the sort of this custom layout. You can customize it as you want to, but it's got very basic features: a camera, video, music, quick remote calculator. Nothing really more than that, and that's all you really kind of got to get with it when you're in that mode. And it's really easy to switch between the two, so go about like that. Bring it back up, and let's see, actually let's go down here. That's the pattern. Brings you back to your normal mode like that. Another cool feature on the G2 is actually that knock mode, which let me show you here. So if you don't want to hit the power button, you just want to use knock, tap on the phone, brings it up. You can actually tap it to turn it off like that. So that's a quick way to do some sort of preview. Now the way the Galaxy S4 does previews, if you swipe on the top of it there, sort of brings up a little quick menu preview for a second there, so you can see sort of the icons. But going like this, it's just a little bit easier. I think I like this just a little bit better, just being able to knock on the phone like that and just get the quick information. And if I want to choose unlock it, I can go just like that and unlock it. Doing the swipe here, you really don't have any options to unlock or do anything. It just kind of shows you and then kind of just goes away. There really isn't any options to jump into something right there and then and there sort of after. Let's see here. Now let's take a look at the sort of the Q apps and Q side here. Let's go ahead and knock that back on. There we go. So it's a couple of tries to get it working, but it usually works pretty consistently. Now they both do sort of multi-window mini apps, just a little bit differently. Now the Galaxy S4 does multi-window. Just holding down the back button here brings up sort of the multi-window options, and obviously you can choose between internet. And you drag one over. Then let's say I want to go into YouTube. Bring the other one down here at the bottom. Allows you to sort of go between both of them and switch out which one's on top, which is at the bottom. What's the sort of screen, how much screen real estate you want to give one versus the other. And there's a certain amount of apps that you can choose from here that are compatible with that mode, which you can see there on the side. Now for what the LG G2 does, as we go ahead and unlock it here, what this does instead is what it does is I think I'm hovering over the center every time I do that, so it's locking it kind of automatically. Let's go ahead and bring that back up here. What they do is called Q slide apps. So let's say I want to bring up the internet. I tap on that, brings up a mini window of the internet, which you can sort of resize as you want to. You can kind of put it anywhere. and you can make it as transparent, and you can run up to 2 of these. So I can open up another one here just by going notifications. Let's say I want to get into messaging. Brings up the messaging here. Same idea. You can go kind of navigate through it, use it as you wish. You can maximize it out if you want to make it full. You can shrink it back down not to make it full, and that works with the other one too. And you can resize it as you want. And you can also, while you're interacting with these, you can interact with the back of the phone here itself. So you can have something else running here, like the gallery, for example. You can have that going at the same time. Now, if you want to sort of move these, but you don't want to get rid of them, you can easily just go like this, and it kind of locks them to the side here, and it makes it sort of a quick access to get right back to it. And you can see I just tapped on it there, and you can move these anywhere you want on the screen. And just by tapping it, brings the application back up, and you exit out like that, and you can exit them out of it just like that. So that's pretty nice. I actually like that a little bit better than I like sort of the multi-window feature that the Galaxy S4 is using, because it's really kind of limited. It is kind of basic, not really much you can do. I noticed some improvements that they've added in the Galaxy Note 3, which I'm gonna be excited to sort of see. And you can easily X out of each one of these like that. But I kind of like the way it's done on the G2 just a little bit better, because it gives you, I think it's just a little more customization and options and usability for really good multitasking. Now, also, you can talk about multitasking. Basically, holding the home button down here allows you to multitask in with the Galaxy S4 and be able to sort of get to apps quickly and get in and out of your applications quickly. Now on the G2, it does a little bit differently here. Now you can still do this, because this is really just a basic Android feature, and you can still kind of swipe left and right out of each one. But what they have unique is called slide aside. Now slide aside, let's say I have let's bring up an app. Let's bring up the gallery, and let's say, oh, I want to get to messaging, but I don't want to be in both, or I don't want to use the Q slide apps. All you got to do with 3 fingers, swipe like this, brings it up to the side, and sort of puts it in a save state. You'll see the notifications section right here. It says slide to slide, 1 app saved. Say I want to bring up some messaging, and I don't want to just want to swipe out of that for whatever reason. You can go just like that, and it brings that over. And let's do one more here. Let's do contacts for the reason you got to get into contacts. Let me swipe that over to the side, and it does just like that. Now it does the 3 applications, and let's say you want to bring up an app or something, swiping the other way with 3 fingers brings it all back up here. Like I said, it sort of puts it in a save state, and you can kind of choose if you want to X out of one or you want to jump into one. It jumps into it just like that. You can swipe back into it, and it brings it back up there. You can go into notification and bring it up. You can exit out of them by swiping up or swiping down. Tap again, like I said, brings it up. So it's going like that, just swipes it right away. It brings you to the only one that we have left. We can hit home. That's a pretty cool feature, and I like that sort of multitasking. That's pretty good if you have apps that you want to just kind of freeze right at that point, because you need to get into something else. You need the full screen to be able to get into that. So it gives you an option to use that, and also, you know, if it's not a Q slide enabled app, it sort of gives you that functionality with other applications, being able to save it and kind of push it to the side. And it's got a pretty cool graphic as well with it. So I definitely like that feature in the G2. Right now, as far as anything else, it's pretty much, you know, whatever carrier branded stuff that you might get with it. This is a global version, so you don't have any carrier specific stuff. It's more Google centric. With the Verizon one, you're obviously gonna get My Verizon Mobile, all their sort of apps sort of stuffed in here with it. Now, as far as some other things that are specific to the phone, you have S Health and sort of Samsung Hub and all the other sort of Samsung applications, S Memo, S Note. Those are pretty cool. The application that they've added with it. G2 sort of has, they don't really have LG branded stuff, but they have things sort of like besides LG backup, they have Life Square, they have quick remote call service, they have the file manager, dictionary, sort of quick translator, safety call, sort of the things that they pre-installed in themselves with it. But between the two, both really do offer very nice software experiences. And really, when I kind of look between the two of them, I kind of like a lot of the things that are on the LG G2 as far as multitasking is concerned, as far as being sort of the options that you get with it in terms of customization with the UI and some of the sort of navigation features that you have with it. But I will say it still feels a little cluttered. It still doesn't feel as mature as it should, and I think the Galaxy S4s with TouchWiz does have that sort of mature feel. It's a little bit ahead, and it sort of refines the feature just a little bit better with it. It makes it a little easier to navigate around, but they still need to do some work with TouchWiz. It isn't all the way complete just yet, but it is a very good interface, and between the two of them, it's really going to be sort of what you decide. LG's intuitive UI, which is continuing to evolve and trying to find its identity, versus TouchWiz, which knows its identity and it does it very well. All right, so the LG G2 and the Samsung Galaxy S4 both have 13 megapixel cameras. This LG G2 sports optical image stabilization with theirs. There really isn't. It does have some stabilization features inside the Samsung Galaxy S4 as well too, of course. Both do produce very, very good pictures. They both have 13 megapixel sensors, and I'm going to be honest with you, really the difference between them in terms of camera is very, very minimal. I know we're not really focusing on anything in here. For most people, average users, it's gonna work well for you. You're gonna like the pictures that you upload to Facebook, Twitter, Google+, wherever you share your photos and stuff like that. You're gonna take a very good picture, especially with good lighting between the two of them. Now, the difference is really going to be sort of, we go back into here and sort of with the modes and sort of the software here itself. The LG G2, it's a very interesting sort of software layout. It isn't the, I would say it's good, not the most intuitive, not the easiest, but it is very good. You do have all your modes and stuff to sort of choose from. You can choose how those modes are sort of laid out here. You get pretty much the same similar modes inside the Galaxy S4 here. But you have, so let's go here. I think I have it in dual shot mode. Let's take it out of dual shot mode if we can. Just put it into standard mode here. Bring it back, even though I'm not pointing down at anything, but we can obviously bring up the menu and interface here. You have the modes here, and sort of the modes can sort of be chosen, and they all pretty much both have very, very similar modes between them, from sport, night mode, shot and clear, best photo, dynamic, HDR, panoramic, beauty shots. VR panoramic mode is a mode that the Galaxy S4 doesn't have. You have animated photos, which I don't believe is inside the G2 here. You can see they both kind of laid out very similar. I like the layout a little bit better on the S4 in terms of being able to kind of scroll through the modes a little bit easier. And let's see, go back here. And sort of the getting to the settings is, I think, a little bit easier here on the LG G2 to be able to kind of customize them out. But they have pretty much similar settings here, with photo settings, setting it up to whatever you want it to be, 13 megapixels, 9.6 with the widescreen if you want to use that, versus the 10 megapixel here on the LG G2. If I saw white balance, color effects, same similar settings. I think LG lays these out just a little bit better than what Samsung does here. This is sort of just a dumped in menu, so it's a little bit more difficult to navigate around. Now, to jump into video options, you have to go into video in the G2 and then go to settings to be able to set those. Now, they both have 1080p HD video recording, but this has 60 frames per second option on the G2, so it gives you a little bit more to sort of play with there, but similar layout as the other one. Like I said, this layout is just a little bit easier to sort of navigate in terms of the settings, and it sort of dumps all of its the Galaxy S4 sort of dumps all of its settings sort of in one section here, and really kind of leaves you kind of fend on your own. It's a little bit of a jarring experience, a little bit to go into the settings versus what you kind of see with this layout here, which I think their layout is far superior in terms of being able to take pictures and things of that nature, and being able to control your camera. What I don't like is when I hit the record button, it immediately starts recording, which I've never been a fan of it doing kind of ever on any Android phone. I've always liked it better when you can just kind of swipe to that option, then choose to record at that point. So I give the props to LG for sort of keeping that particular feature with it here. But between the two, I do like the camera interface as far as interfaces go, because that's really going to be the major difference, because image quality and video quality are going to be roughly about the same between the two of them. Ain't going to be too much of a difference. It's going to be kind of pulling hairs, I would say, between the two of them. If you enjoy pictures, they're both going to be very enjoyable pictures, but as far as the interfaces go, I really do like what's in the Galaxy S4 in terms of their interface. A little bit better than LG's, but LG is definitely getting there. So this was a very interesting battle between the two of these. You really see with the LG G2 that they were really looking at the Samsung Galaxy S4, which came out earlier in the year, and really tried to pack as many of the similar features that they could inside the G2, and then try to push it just a little bit further ahead to compete very well against the Samsung Galaxy S4. Now, between the two, is there really a true winner? Really, the winner is pretty much what you decide. For me personally, I probably would still stick with the Samsung Galaxy S4 because I like some of the features. I really like TouchWiz. It's a little bit more mature versus the intuitive UI here on the LG G2. And I kind of like the form factor and look just a little bit better. But I really do like the LG G2 in terms of sort of its form factor as well. I do like the screen with it, and I like some of the additional apps that they've added with it, sort of the Q slide apps and sort of the slide away sort of multitasking feature. I really do like those two things. The Q apps they've had, Q slide apps they've had before, but now it's just a little bit more refined, a little bit better, which is something I really do like that they put inside of here. So between the two, it's really going to be up to you to decide. I do like the Galaxy S4 just a little bit better, but the LG G2 is definitely a great competitor and something out there I would definitely recommend. I saw someone with the G2. I said you're doing a pretty good job in your smartphone choices, and you have a Galaxy S4, you're doing a good job as well too. So you really can't go wrong with either one of these. This is BWOne from BWOne reminding you, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and a like. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page. Check us out on all our social networks between Facebook, Twitter, Google+. The links are all in the description. And always remember to live your tech world in high definition. Thanks for watching.